Right. We have made it to another live. I know I said, at least on my page, I might not be back until August, but it's a full moon. Seems like a great time to show up and do a little advice, give you a little bit of insight on what you can expect from this full moon energy, as well as do a quick oracle pull for some advice on how we can really capitalize on this energy. So whenever you get a chance to watch this, just note that the full moon in Aquarius is in full effect right now. It actually came into effect yesterday evening around 10:37 p.m. Eastern time. So that is what we are here to talk about. The full moon in Aquarius is also known as the buck moon. It's an interesting kind of backstory to how it got that name. The buck moon is named because during this season, bucks, which are like male deer, they basically shed their antlers and then come back with these new, bigger antlers. So it's when their antlers are at their final form, basically, for the season. So each year around this time, there is like this shedding and rebirth process for male deer and their antlers. And, you know, the bigger the antlers, the better equipped they are to mate. So that's how this moon got the name buck moon, which is something I didn't know, but interesting enough. Hi Misty, thanks for joining. Just giving some background on the alternative name for the full moon in Aquarius, which is the buck moon. It's got a lot of other names like the feather moon, the salmon moon, but ultimately we're here to talk about the full moon in Aquarius, which is taking place at 1 degree Aquarius. So very beginning of the Aquarian section of the wheel of the year. And what's interesting is when you look at Sabian symbols, Aquarius at 1 degree is about, it's called let me make sure I say it right. It's an old Adobe mission. So what this is tapping into or talking about is like way, way, way back before California was actually colonized and it was all wilderness and not really a habitable place. A group of people actually built these missions, is what they're called, these kind of stone habitations for people to take shelter in, for people to worship in. It became just a source of survival for the people who lived in the wilderness of California once upon a time. And these missions are still standing today. Very similar to like Stonehenge. It's just a place that was built to withstand the test of time for no real reason. Like they didn't have a mission necessarily to create these long-standing shelters, but endurance, dedication, they put their mind to it and made something for their community, even though there wasn't really a community established at that point in time. And like I said, those missions still stand today. So that's pretty cool that is where the full moon landed for this buck full moon for us. And I think it speaks a lot to kind of where we are and what we need to be focused on as a collective. There is an energy with this moon that is very much time to put our energy away from the individual and focus more on building the right kind of community, the kind of community that's going to stand the test of time. So there are a couple of themes with this full moon that I want you to keep top of mind as you're working through the energy over the next couple of days. First things first is that this energy is about really stepping into your truest form of yourself. Aquarians are very progressive thinkers, very creative people, very unique individuals, but they're unique individuals that are very focused on the greater good of the collective. With that in mind, they don't always have the people around them that understand them fully or really get them or get their energy or understand how to best connect with them. This full moon is asking you to kind of take a step back and ask yourself, are you engaging with people, or do you have people in your space that don't fully and truly accept you as your truest form of yourself? And if so, how do you rid yourself of that energy in a way that allows you to really move on to this next level and create the community you need to withstand the test of time, like these old Adobe missions? Same thing applies to work. Are you in a work situation that doesn't really highlight who you truly are, help you to really become your truest self or step into your fullest form? If so, how do you separate yourself from that work environment so that you can really be your best self? And again, the real message, the real encouragement here is to do what it takes to really move the needle in a way that helps you to be more authentically you. It's going to require you to move yourself out of places where you feel judged, but also to make sure that you too aren't being judgmental. There's a balance with this full moon that is asking you to release the energy that is, it's kind of like hater energy, if that makes sense. It's like anybody, anything, any experience that doesn't really match your vibe should not be allowed to enter into your space. And because full moons are times to release, and specifically release people, toxic habits, negative traits, and release anything that kind of keeps you from getting to the next step of your journey, this is the perfect time to reevaluate and take stock of what's going on around you and how can you lighten your load so that you can really move into this next cycle as the moon begins to move towards the new moon phase. So step one, I would highly suggest, is for you to do almost like a letter of advice to yourself. That would be my ritual advice for this full moon. Think about what you should have said to yourself as a younger person and the things you want to encourage yourself to do as you grow older, grow wiser on this life journey that we're all on today. And write those words of advice to yourself and read over them for the rest of the year. And keep reading over them, especially words of advice that are related to how you can maintain a space of balance and clear-headedness and good, positive energy in all aspects of your life. That's going to be very, very, very pivotal over the next, like the second half of this year. You really need to make sure that you have built a community around you that's going to withstand the test of time, because 9 times out of 10, we are kind of just, we keep certain friends around, we stick with certain careers, we stay in certain romantic relationships just because they are familiar, but it's not necessarily the place, the people, the environment that we need to be in order to evolve and continue to do what's best, not only for ourselves, but to do what's best for our community. Like I said, Aquarians are very like earth-shattering, let's shake up the world and have a revolution type situation. And it's almost as if you need to be doing things that allow you to usher in like world peace energy. So another ritual I would suggest, outside of you writing that advice letter to your younger self and your future self, is to also ask the universe how we can kind of wrap this big crazy world that we are in world peace. I know that sounds so cheesy, but like I said, that's the type of energy that Aquarius is bringing to the table. We need to do something different, establish some new type of foundational order in order to really see the change that we want to happen in our lives and in the lives of those around us. So to summarize all of what we just said here, guys, the full moon in Aquarius got to 100% yesterday at 10:37 p.m. And it's at 1 degree Aquarius. Again, the very beginning of the Aquarian portion of the wheel of the year, meaning this is the beginning of a journey. Our next moon phase is also in Aquarius. So because we had this one so early in the symbol, we're going to really get to the end of this Aquarian journey on the moon phase cycle here. So that's actually pretty exciting. It really allows you to see how the energy you put in today, the energy you release over the next 2 days, is really going to catapult what you have planned, the new opportunities, the new people, the new experiences, the new career paths that open up for you over the next, let's call it 10-day cycle. Before we get to another, well, about 14 days before we get to another pivotal moon. I think the next moon phase is, let me check. I don't want to tell you a lie. The next moon phase is on August 22nd. So really in about a month. So over the next 30 days, it's going to be a full moon in Aquarius, like I said. So again, we're just going to move this release and renewal energy to the next level by the end of August. So work on getting the haters out of your life immediately. Work on getting old stale energy from friends, family, work, and even old patterns of thinking out of your head. It's time for you to kind of refresh and renew everything about how you're moving right now. right now. So in order to really take things to the next level, this full moon is going to be actually really good and really healing for people who their sun sign is Aries, their sun sign is Gemini, their sun sign is Leo, sun sign is Libra, Sagittarius, and of course for our sun signs of Aquarius. So everybody else, myself included, because none of those are my sun signs, it's going to be a little challenging. I would say if your rising or your moon are in any of the signs that I just called out, you might be able to really tap into this energy strongly as well. But again, if you are an Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, or Aquarius, this is the full moon that you really need to be working with, as well as the full moon that's coming up in August 22nd to be exact. And again, what I want you to get out of this moon, what I want you to get out of your release rituals tonight, what I want you to focus on moving forward with this energy is stepping into your most authentic self, being the truest version of yourself without apology, and removing anything and anyone from your life that does not allow you to do that. You do not need to put yourself in this kind of people-pleasing mode just to keep people around. If people are not sticking around because of who you are authentically, then they're not your people, and they're not the people that are going to help you withstand the test of time. If your job makes you have to be this new person, and I'm not talking about like when you have to put on like your corporate voice, because everybody has to do that, but I'm specifically talking about you having to bend and kind of step outside of your own character just to feel comfortable in that work environment. That's not the work environment for you, and it's time to release it and trust that the universe is going to have your back when you do so. So with that being said, let's get a couple of cards of advice, and then I'm going to let you guys go. This was going to be a short live just to give you some quick advice, because we are on day 2 of the moon energy. First card that came out, we'll check it out in a second. I'm pulling 2. Let's get a little bit of advice for this full moon in Aquarius. How do we release the haters? How do we release the toxic energy? How do we release the judgmental people and judgmental vibes of our environments in order to really maximize what we're doing for the remainder of this year? And it looks like we're actually going to do 3, because I tried to do 2 and 3 fell out. And the only reason I didn't do 3 actually is because my other feather is downstairs and I was lazy and didn't want to get it. So that's just how it goes. When you're lazy, you still got to do the work. So there's probably a message in there for somebody. You still got to do the work even when you don't really want to walk down the steps and get the feather. So 3 cards it is, people. So let's talk about this advice for this full moon. The first card that came out is gratitude. Full moons are about gratitude, first of all, because the full moon marks the end of a lunar cycle phase, right? The lunar phase. It doesn't really end because it's just going to keep going and cycling over and over again. But it's the climax. It's the end of a lesson. It's the end of a learning period. So gratitude and being grateful for what it is that we have gone through to get us to this point. Be grateful for the people that have been in your life that you now know are not supposed to be in your life anymore. Be grateful for the experiences you had that didn't really make you, they didn't put you in a higher place, but they taught you a lesson that allows you to reach your highest good. And be grateful for those family members, those friends, those romantic partners that don't quite need to be there anymore because they taught you something. That's important. Learning how to be grateful through the lesson is extremely, extremely, extremely important. Let's take a peek in the book and see if there's anything else that needs to come out. Develop an attitude of gratitude and watch the world around you change for the better. Are you seeing your cup as half empty or half full? Your perception on these things that are happening to you, these changes that are happening in your life, is really what's going to make the biggest difference in how you are able to maneuver through the next level of your life and all of these ever evolving situations. The act of being grateful is almost like a magic spell. Count your blessings and express your gratitude. No matter what your situation, know that there's always someone somewhere who has even more challenges than yourself. It might not make your current experience any easier to deal with, yet it does help to put things into perspective. Like I said, perspective is key when it comes to gratitude. Everything can be looked at through a lens of gratitude, even when it hurts, even when it sucks, even when it feels like something is crumbling around you. Be grateful that those things are crumbling and that it's not you that's crumbling. Like, there are definitely ways to find gratitude in tower moments. And I hope that really resonates for you all because it resonated for me. Being grateful allows you to really notice when blessings are happening in your life. And once you start noticing blessings, just by way of the law of attraction, more blessings are ushered in. So, pull yourself out of any energy that isn't allowing you to stay in an attitude of gratitude. So lame, but I had to say it. The perfect state of gratitude arises from not expecting anything from life. Often we can feel hard done by. Maybe you sometimes find yourself saying that life isn't fair. This doesn't mean giving up. It's far from it. Rather, it means surrendering to life and fully entering and entrusting the universe to provide whatever you need while accepting everything with humility and gratitude. So I think we beat that horse to death. So let me give you guys a good look at the card. Like I said, it's just that surrendering and just receiving everything that has happened and accepting it as a lesson that's going to really take you to the next level. That's as simply put as I can put it. So gratitude was the first card that came out. The second card that came out was friendship. You can't make this up. What have I been talking about this whole time? This moon's energy is very much so about evaluating your friendships. It's very much so about looking into the proverbial mirror that is your friend, that are your friends, and identifying if who's standing there in front of you is still truly a reflection of yourself, or is it a reflection of your past self? Is it a reflection of who you want to be? Whomever you see when you look into the eyes of your friends or the faces of your friends, you need to get rid of those people who are so far from the image you are creating of yourself, because those people are not going to be a part of your path moving forward. And it's okay. And it's fine. It doesn't matter how long or how much love is there. It's no love lost at the end of the day. It's about making the decisions for yourself that are going to elevate you. Because in elevating yourself, you are in better position to elevate the energy of the collective. And that's what's most important, ultimately, is moving this whole 3D plane to a higher vibration. Everything else is just a part of the human experience. And you are not a human being. You are a spirit having a human experience. So with this friendship card coming out, it just circles back to what we've been talking about for a majority of this reading. You really need to find someone on your own wavelength to spend time with. Being with like-minded friends is the tonic you need right now. The healing that you need is going to be found in the people that are really and truly going to make up your soul tribe. There is no need to involve yourself or surround yourself with people who are not pouring back into you, with people who are not there for you in the way that you want them to be. Even if there's a friend that you've been meaning to connect with more, someone you've been wanting to reach out to, someone that you fell off with, it's okay to reach out to that person if you think that that person is still somebody who needs to be in your energy field. However, on the other hand, if there's somebody you've been meaning to connect with, there's somebody you've been meaning to talk to, and they're no longer the person on your wavelength, then let it go and let it flow. This is a time for release. I think something that's important that's in this book is always remember to check on your strong friends. Sometimes it's hard for them to reveal their vulnerability because there are a lot of expectations placed upon them. So reach out and see how they are. As a self-proclaimed strong friend, I would highly suggest people reach out and check on your strong friends. And I'm going to highly suggest to myself, reach out and check on your strong friends too. So this is an important time to connect with your friends who you don't always check on because you expect them to be okay. Again, if and only if they need to still be in your space. If they don't need to still be in your space, they're strong enough to get through it. I promise. So friendship, key theme here. How do you step into authentic friendship with this full moon? And the last card that came out is contemplation. And hold on just a second on this friendship card. I do want to point out the one thing I like about this card is kind of how it looks like the other mermaid has this mermaid's back. These are people who have your back. It's going to be very clear who it is you need to reach out to versus who you don't need to reach out to. So, sorry, we had to spin the block on that real quick. But back to contemplation. Contemplation. Ultimately, contemplation is giving me this message of we're going to have to sit and think about this. Patience is key right now. Patience is very key. Some of the negative traits of Aquarian energy is just getting too caught up in your head, being stubborn, and not wanting to do much. So use this time to contemplate and really think about what it is that you need to achieve. Because if you don't, you're going to make the wrong move. It's very, very, very important to take your time when processing through who you need in your life, who you don't need in your life, and who you need to reconnect with. Spending time in contemplation can be as easy as meditating, or it could be as hard as sitting down and doing a journaling exercise with yourself. And contemplation doesn't have to be something you do alone. A lot of people like to contemplate on their own, and some people like to bounce ideas off of other people. It's whatever is going to make you the most comfortable to really get yourself into a clear-headed space. So contemplate your current situation and allow your thoughts and feelings to flow. Use your mind in conjunction with your heart and think things through before making a decision. Because this is a time for you to look at releasing relationships, people, experiences, environments, events, and thought patterns that are no longer serving you, it is going to be imperative that you do what you can to really be clear on the decisions that you are making. Because you don't want to make a decision, a rash decision, that is going to be so pivotal to, as I said, withstanding the test of time. Because that's what the Aquarius at 1 degree symbolizes. It's all about foundations that can withstand the test of time. So make sure you are being very intentional with your moves here. Again, you need to think deeply about this situation. Use your wisdom and imagination to arrive at a wholesome solution. You might be a bit confused as it relates to your feelings right now, and you're prone to follow your heart, which is usually a good thing. However, this situation needs you to find that balance. Again, balance coming up again. You need to find the balance between heart and head and make the decision that is really going to be best for you. You're the only person who knows what's best for you ultimately. Even if you don't know that you know what's best for you, contemplation, meditation is where you can find those answers, people. In fact, the next line in the book says, contemplation is a type of meditation, only it entails engaging with your mind instead of trying to stop the thoughts. When you use your mind and heart, wisdom is in you. When you use your mind and heart wisdom in unison, it's possible to make major decisions in life knowing you've covered all angles and explored several options and outcomes in the safety of your own imagination. So this is going to be a time for you to take a step back, find some balance in your life, and really focus on contemplation and meditation, of course, evaluating the friendships that you have in your life and how they feed or don't feed your soul at this point, and being grateful for the lessons that you've learned thus far. Again, being in this place of gratitude is very, very imperative to truly understanding how you can learn these lessons and incorporate these lessons in a way that maximizes full moon energy. So, with that being said, I appreciate those who were able to catch this live. If not, watch it back. This energy is going to be in the air for the next couple of days. And like I said, the next full moon on August 22nd is in Aquarius as well. So you can expect this energy to really ride itself out for the next month. If you have any other questions about the full moon, the Sabian symbols, or the cards that we pulled today from an advice perspective on how you can maximize this energy, DM me. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will catch up with you later. Bye.